to do. Okay, so we're there. Hi, we're back.
Good morning.
Good morning. So anyone joining us, I'm reading my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace with Mum. It's about a new approach to climate change. And we've just had half term, so I kind of paused it for a whole week when we've been away. I have managed to get my legs a bit infected with brambles. We've been cutting it, so
Oh,
it had been lots of scars, and then a bit of, I think the last lot, some of it, I had been bitten by all the insects that may be living in them. So it's, and I'm quite sensitive to those things, so it's all flared up.
yeah, you should wear long trousers.
So I should wear long trousers. I'm doing this in shorts, and I was thinking it'd be okay.
Yeah.
But it's been very tiring. Really, gardening is very tiring. But we are planting lots of new things. We want to be able to grow our own food a little bit more, a little bit better. It's all about nature's pace and understanding how to be with nature and creation. So, Mum, Happy New Year. We had also had Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
So this year is the year of the horse. And you're not a horse. My dad was a horse, right?
No,
No,
Daddy is the lamb.
he was a lamb.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Next year.
do we have anyone who's a horse? We don't have anyone who's a horse in our family.
Not enough.
Not in our family.
I say Keta should be in the horse.
Katya should be a horse. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the year just finished.
Oh no, she
Yeah.
just missed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's not a horse. She was last year.
No, but in the Chinese calendar,
Yeah.
she should belong to the horse.
No, because her birthday is the 26th of January.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. She is. Yes.
Yeah.
So she's a horse. So my wife is a horse. I say that in the best possible way.
And then Jeff will be the lamb.
And Jeff will be the lamb.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. And what are you, Mum?
Pig.
You're a pig. Okay. Okay.
Teresa is the mouse.
Teresa is a mouse, and I am a rabbit. I
Yeah.
just miss being a dragon.
And then Maria is the tiger.
And there is a tiger. So we're all animals. So, okay, on to the book. I'm going to read this along. Just a couple more pages before we finish this chapter on Thrive contracts. So, will Thrive contracts make energy prices more expensive? And the idea of Thrive contracts, it's good to just recap so that we know what we're talking about, is about the this oil and gas and coal. It's about a new approach to climate change, and we know that there's stuff that we need to use for ourselves today, like fill up my car with petrol, and there's stuff that we need to build tomorrow, like to be able to have the solar energy and other things. We that still need oil and gas and coal, and there's the stuff that goes beyond that. And those are the oil and gas and coal that haven't yet been licensed, haven't yet been dug out of the ground, and Thrive contracts are a way for us to mark them ourselves so that they won't be used. So this is contracts where we can connect with our governments and so on, and we can buy them for maybe $10 a barrel because you don't have to dig them out or anything like that, and we can offer them to nature in exchange for nature's money. So it becomes like a way of buying a new currency, of getting a new currency, swapping through these contracts in that way. So will Thrive contracts make energy prices more expensive? The short answer is no. The longer answer is longer, but still no. And the main point to remember about that is because these are stuff that really is still in the ground, and so it doesn't really affect what we do today. The modern economy does not have an intrinsic value for commodities. The price associated with them reflects the value of the things that they can be used for. That means that there is no value to a rainforest until it's cut down for wood, and there's no value to water until it's bottled. The dire consequence of this is that there is no value for nature until it's destroyed. This is the same for oil and gas and coal. Their price reflects the value of things that can be done by exploiting them. This exploitation is not just about their use in providing goods and services. It is because there is often politics involved. The most extreme price escalations come from politicians exploiting oil and gas and coal to create or in response to wars. That is often the reason why energy prices increase uncontrollably from one moment to the next and collapse soon after. The demand and supply of material goods and services do not change that. The Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, for example, is a classic recent event. Over this period, gas prices, especially European gas prices, increased by multiples. This also pushed up oil and coal prices because, in some instances, oil and coal can be used in the place of natural gas. However, despite the extreme price increase, the amount of oil, gas, and coal produced and used over this period barely changed. This points to how it is not the availability but the grandstanding that pushes the price. Following the invasion, the European Union declared it would not buy Russian gas. Putting the moral case for this aside, this is using gas revenues to threaten the Russian government. The European Union was still going to use gas, but it would have to buy gas that is produced by other countries. However, in today's economy, there is no spare capacity. The non-Russian supplies were already destined for other countries. The EU politicians then simply created a bidding war that forced the price for non-Russian gas up. The EU is rich, it can afford higher prices. However, the higher prices still hurt the citizens. The politicians blamed it on the war to suggest it is Russia that is pushing up the price. Poorer countries are poor. They had to turn to Russia to buy their supply. All this ended up pushing up the price of Russian gas. The net result is poorer countries went into financial ruin and energy bankruptcy. And in the meantime, Russia benefited financially from the shenanigans. This points out the politics of energy prices is not just about demand and supply. It is as much, if not more, to do with whether changes are anticipated or not. If Thrive contracts are used to supply oil, gas, and coal, it makes the demand clear. They can stabilize prices. Thrive contracts are similar to financial futures, where they allow people to hedge the price they may have to pay. Here, in addition to the prices, Thrive contracts guarantee the supply. Meanwhile, in 2022, the ripples of the price fluctuations washed into other markets. The European fertilizer market in particular was badly hit. Gas is a major input for making fertilizers. As gas price tripled, fertilizers makers stopped production. If they had continued, they would have ended up making fertilizers at a loss. As fertilizer production shut down, fertilizer prices escalated. Farmers faced losses if they tried to grow their crops, so farmers held back from planting. This created a food shortage. Thrive contracts allow energy needs to be clearly specified in advance. They allow people, businesses, and communities that need oil, gas, and coal to buy them ahead of time. This is what these contracts are there for. It helps to provide clarity over genuine needs. If prices did increase, then the owners of the Thrive contracts can resell them. That then would benefit those who have made their commitments early. In that case, if a similar situation to the Ukraine-Russia war were to recur, the poorer countries would have benefited by selling their Thrive contracts at a higher price. The EU will still have to pay, but that is the proper cost of its stance. So that's that there. So we've finished that chapter today. That's that there. We're going on to the next one, which is about subtractive change next time. So, Mum, how are you then? What do you think?
Well, if they increase the price all the time, then how can people afford it?
That's very true. So that's one of the big problems along. And ultimately, the boundary of the oil and gas and coal that we use or not is about how we use our energy. So like you were saying last week, you had a toothbrush that had a battery in there and you needed changing. So instead of just throwing it out, you carried on using it for another month before that battery ran out. Mm-hmm. But we don't do that most of the time. And that's why we actually end up forcing the price to increase, because we think that it's actually cheaper along and easier just to go and have something new in that way and so on. So in the end, it is what I describe as the shape of the future we want. How, whether between the things we want to do when we get up in the morning and things we have done when we go to bed, how much of those have aligned to be the same. A lot of us actually find that they don't overlap at all. And that's where all this extra energy is used. So if we can align them better, then what we'll be able to find is that we can keep the prices down better. We won't be just wasting it, as you keep telling us.
Yeah, everybody has to save.
Yes, everybody has to save, has to respect the nature, that it all comes from nature. And as a great man in India, Chetan Solanki Singh, says, you may be able to afford it, but nature can't afford it. And the cost is going to come back to us. So thank you very much. It's been lovely reading.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. I'm going to just close this. Okay.